Thank you, Secretary Kerry, for joining us today. We don't agree on a lot in this town, but I would say, certainly on this committee, throughout Congress, and I believe the administration, and to quote your words, we all agree on one issue, which is Iran must not and will not acquire a nuclear weapon. I think there's general consensus on that. On Saturday, the President, when being asked at Sabin Institute what he envisioned a final agreement might look like, he talked about an agreement that would let Iran enrich enough nuclear material for energy, but with enough in the way of restrictions to assure the United States and Israel that it could not produce a nuclear weapon. I think I'm quoting that correctly. When asked the chances of success of getting to that agreement, to quote the President, I wouldn't say it's more than 50-50, but we have to try. I think we agree that we should try because the outcome of failure is probably one that we don't want to see. But given Iran's history, many of us in this body, on this committee, and myself personally, remain very skeptical. And certainly, as you approach the negotiations, you've expressed a healthy set of skepticism as well. But again, we have to try. Any agreement that we enter into has to, and again, I think to quote you, it has to halt their progress and roll it back, and it has to lengthen the time to nuclear breakout. So with this model of test and verify, how can we guarantee that they aren't continuing to enrich? They aren't continuing to enrich above the 3% threshold or above a 5%.
That's a really good
threshold.
question.
And within the context, do they understand how skeptical members of this body are, and how, if there is any backsliding, we've already, in a unanimous way, supported increased sanctions. Over in the Senate, they're probably very close to, if there's progress, how close they are.
How close they are?
How skeptical we are within this body about their intentions and,
Well, look, the answer is that the purpose of our first step is to know with certainty what they're doing. And they have said to us, that is part of their proffer to us. If they say it's going to be a peaceful program, they say, we will allow you unlimited access. We will allow restraints. We will make these things happen. And that's sort of what we have to put to the test now. Now, we will now have access to this secret underground facility. We haven't had that. That's a big deal. We will now have access to Natanz, and we will know what they're doing there. We will have sufficient access to the heavy water reactor. Now, as we go on the road here, there are going to have to be built-in, very significant, intrusive verification mechanisms so that we know to a certainty. When I say to a certainty, Prime Minister Netanyahu is going to sit there and say to us, and others, King Abdullah of Saudi Arabia, the Emirates, Mohammed bin Zayed, they're going to look at us and say, are we really protected? And we have a responsibility as an administration to negotiate an agreement where we can come to all of you and withstand appropriate scrutiny of what the framework of this agreement is. Does it answer the question that you know what they're doing? Does it give you adequate insight, ongoing? Is it possible for them to somehow be cheating on you and you don't know it? Is there a way that you can, fail-safe guarantee that there's no hidden enrichment taking place? Is there a guarantee that you're able to say this program is, to a certainty, a peaceful program? Now, as I said, there are other countries that engage in peaceful programs, and we have inspectors and inspection and a level of intrusion. It'll take Iran a period of time, obviously, where that's going to have to be greater for them. Why? Because of the record here, because of the history that has raised these sanctions to the level they are, that has brought the global community together in this effort. And it's up to Iran, really, to decide how fast they want to prove this and how far they're willing to go to make it clear that it is certain. If it isn't certain, we have a problem.